Hey there, welcome back. I'm Flat Rate Mechanic, and today we're diving into a common automotive mystery: why your battery light is on, but your alternator seems just fine. Ever find yourself in that frustrating situation? You replace the alternator, maybe even toss in a new battery, and yet that pesky battery light flickers back to life. What's going on? Let me tell you about a Honda Fit that rolled into my shop with just this issue. We're going to walk through the diagnostic process together, and I promise it'll shed some light on a problem that many folks overlook. Spoiler alert, it wasn't the alternator or the battery causing the headache. First, let's get into scanning for trouble codes. Now, I can't stress this enough. Always start with a scan tool before you begin swapping parts. I've seen too many people throw money at a new alternator, thinking that's the culprit, only to find out that didn't fix the problem. In the case of our Honda Fit, the customer came in about 3 months ago, battery light glowing, instrument panel lights acting like a disco, and dim headlights. Classic signs of alternator trouble, right? We swapped out the alternator and the battery, and it seemed like we had solved the issue, or so we thought. But guess what? 3 months later, she was back with the same issue. Dead battery, jump-started just to get it into the shop. Now here's where it gets interesting. After we got the engine running, our battery tester showed the alternator was charging at a healthy 14.4 volts. Everything looked good, yet that battery light was still on. So what gives? After scanning, we found a few codes, including one that stood out. P154A, battery sensor internal failure. That's the key right there. So what does this battery sensor do? It monitors the battery's temperature and amperage draw. If something goes wrong, like a short in the battery, the sensor can signal the computer to stop charging the alternator. It's a safety feature to prevent more serious problems. If the battery sensor fails, it tells the computer to stop charging, thinking it's protecting the system. This sensor is a small module connected to the negative battery terminal, with wires typically colored yellow-red for the alternator command signal and black for ground. On Honda Fits from 2007 to 2014, this issue is quite common. If you're dealing with a similar model, the OEM part number is 38920-RNA-A01, and it fits several other Honda models too. Now here's a pro tip. These sensors can fail intermittently. If you suspect the sensor, try tapping on it or wiggling the wires while the engine is running. If the battery light flickers, you've likely found the problem, saving yourself a ton of diagnostic time. After confirming that P154A code, I did a simple test, tapped on that battery sensor and wiggled the wires. Sure enough, the battery light flickered back on. That confirmed it. The sensor was bad. Now, you might be wondering why the alternator appeared to be charging fine at first. These sensors can be tricky. Sometimes they work, and sometimes they don't. When they fail, the ECU thinks there's a problem, so it tells the alternator to stop charging. When you're testing the voltage, you want to see numbers between 13.8 and 14.4 volts at idle. If your readings look good, but the battery light is still on, that's when you need to focus on the battery sensor. Next up, let's talk about replacing that battery sensor. The good news? This fix is pretty straightforward. Start by disconnecting the negative battery terminal. Make sure you wear insulated gloves for safety. You'll need a 10mm socket or wrench for most Honda battery terminals. You'll find the sensor right on the negative terminal. It's hard to miss. First, pull off the electrical connector by pressing the tab. Then, you'll see a nut holding the sensor in place, also typically a 10mm. Now pay attention. The torque spec on that nut is 52 to 71 inch-pounds. Don't overdo it. Too much torque can snap the terminal, and about 10% of people mess this part up and have to redo it. Once you've removed the old sensor, clean the battery terminal thoroughly. Corrosion here can lead to problems. A dab of dielectric grease will help prevent future corrosion and ensure a good connection. Now, install the new sensor, torque it to spec, reconnect the electrical connector, and you're nearly done. The whole swap takes about 20 minutes once you have the part. Reconnect your battery, clear the codes with your scanner, and start the engine. You should see that battery light stay off, with good charging voltage. Let's break down the cost too. A battery sensor from a Honda dealership runs about $110, but but aftermarket options can be found for $30 to $50. I often stick with OEM parts for reliability. If you take this to a shop, you're looking at around $150 for diagnostics and another $100 to $150 for labor. DIY, you could save yourself $250 to $350. If you don't have an OBD2 scanner, you can pick one up for about $20 to $30, which can pay for itself in saved diagnostic fees over time. Just remember to avoid the super cheap sensors on eBay. Failure rates can be high. If you replace that sensor and the battery light comes back on within 100 miles, something's not right. Scan for codes again, double-check your connections, and test the voltage at the B terminal. If you see any melted wiring or smell burning plastic, that's a sign to stop and seek professional help immediately. So, in summary, if your battery light stays on even after replacing the alternator and battery, look at that battery sensor first. Always scan for codes before replacing parts, and don't skip cleaning connections. These little things can save you time and money. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one. Got questions or stories of your own? Share them with me next time.